Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Ascension Parish Board of Adjustments. I'd like to open the meeting and have a roll call of members. Mr. Brad Walker, Vice Chairman.
Here.
Ms. Kathy DeShader.
Here.
Mr. Jim Cecil.
Here.
Mr. Bryce Cox. Of course, he's not here. He had a personal issue. Mr. David LeBlanc.
Here.
And, of course, I'm here, Howard Dalton, the Chairman. I will move to the public comment period. This is not for agenda items, so if you have an item here on the agenda, this is not when you'd speak. You'll be called for that particular item. This is where members of the public can step up and comment yay or nay about how we're doing, just comments in general. All right, does anybody wish to speak?
Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, I'd like to take a moment because Mr. Cox is not here tonight. His brother was involved in a serious car accident, and I'd like to extend to him our prayers with the recovery of his brother.
Certainly.
Thank you, sir.
Can I have a motion from the board for the acceptance of the minutes for the past meetings, and that would be December 17th.
Make a motion to accept.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the meetings of December 17th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Okay, they're accepted. Can I have a motion for the acceptance of the written decision for December 17th?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign, or opposed, like sign. Okay, that's passed. Let's see, we've got the January 22nd minutes, and before I ask for a motion, I'd like to explain that I caught a bunch of errors in the voting because I was chairman of that meeting, and they had me down as voting, so I've asked Lance to go ahead and make those corrections. So I think all the voting errors have been corrected, and they sent out copies via email, but I don't think everybody got them.
Yeah, I don't know if everyone got copies. They were sent out emails, and we don't have any extra copies at this point. The only thing I do know is that on one of them is James Cecil showing the chairman, and we'll change that. And it may be correct because I think in one of the meetings you may have been the chairman at that time, but I'll check and see. When did you take office? In January?
I actually sat in as vice chairman December.
Okay.
Because he was absent.
Okay.
And I assumed the chairmanship at the January meeting officially.
Okay. All right. So, yes, sir.
So could I have a motion to accept the minutes for January 22nd, if there's any comments or questions?
So moved. I'll second.
All in
Aye.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign.
I
Motion's
abstain.
passed. I'm sorry?
I abstain.
You can do that. We don't have any written decisions for January. Lance?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't have a set in my packet. Can I steal yours? Okay. Can I have a motion to accept the written decisions
So moved.
for January 22nd?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, like sign.
Abstained.
Okay. Moving right along, we'll move into the public hearing for the variances on the agenda tonight. The first item is zoning review ID 1849.08, tract 2A2 of Mayflower Estate for Borg Insurance Agency. Do we have someone here representing that? Sir, if you'd step up to the table here by Mr. Brock, sign in, and then approach the podium, state your name, and you need to state the unique circumstances and or hardship as to why this variance should be granted.
Good evening. My name is Brennan Berg. I'm representing Berg Insurance.
We are requesting this variance to, our hardships with two drainage servitudes, one at the rear of the property and one at the side, and we also have an access servitude that was on the property when we bought it. And this just allows us to put the size building we want there along with some rental space.
Well, it says here you're asking to move the property back, the minimum setback, 2 foot on the west side and 1.5 foot on the east side.
Yes,
Is that
sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The board members have any questions of this applicant?
Yeah. This is the plan we got. Y'all building is right behind the Domino's.
Yes,
that
sir.
Type building. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Where on here would the Domino's building be?
It should be next to the parking lot, concrete
Be on the left of it.
This side.
Oh, I was looking at
On this side.
I'd like to go ahead and open up public hearing if we can.
Second.
Let's see. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. It's been a while. Okay, this is at the point where if someone in the audience wishes to speak for or against your variance, sir,
Yes.
if there is anybody wish to speak for or against this variance from the audience?
Close public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is closed. Okay, the board, are there any more comments, concerns, or questions?
I mean, I'll make a motion to approve. I don't see anything. It's not within the servitudes, and I don't think it's affecting any neighbors. I'll make a motion to approve.
I second.
We have a motion, a second to approve is written. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. That's it.
Thank you very
That's
much.
your variance, sir. The next item is zone review ID 1850.08, parcel 22A1A of the Pelican Point Golf Community for Pelican Point Properties. Is there someone here to speak for that? Yes, ma'am. If you'd sign in and step to the podium, state your name and the reason you're requesting the variance.
Hi there, my name's Lindsay. I'm here on behalf of Pelican Point Properties. I'm here tonight to request a variance of having 5 less parking spaces than what is required by the parish. We currently have 29 parking spaces, and I'm requesting 29 parking spaces as opposed to the 34 that is actually required to the size of the building. In addition to the parking spaces, there are another 8 parking spaces within a few feet of the community center located at the adjacent activity center, and an additional 8 parking spaces within 200 feet of the building for the residents to use as well.
The specific question I'd like you to address is, what is the unique circumstance or hardship that is prevalent for you to request this variance?
We're just trying to save as much green space as possible, and we'd like to go down in.
Okay. Do the board members have any questions for this applicant?
I have a question. On the request, it says that you're requesting 26 parking spaces.
Actually, we have changed that, and we've added 3 more.
That's that new plot I put on your desk. I mean on your, not desk, I guess, in front of you. Sorry.
I have a question for Lance.
Yes, sir.
Lance, is the minimum number of parking spaces a function of the square footage of the building?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I
It's
see.
1 space per 200 square feet.
I see.
Now, it's also gross versus net.
Yes, sir.
'Cause if I'm not mistaken, I had
Right,
that same
yes,
issue.
That's gross, yes, sir. Yep.
Does it work for the net?
No, it'd work for the gross. It's the gross floor area or the total square footage.
And my question for you, ma'am, is are you going to use the same amount of asphalt parking spot? Or are you going to just create, by taking less spaces, you're going to allow more green grass?
We're going to allow more
See?
green area, more
I
landscaping and everything.
I
Yes.
see.
What uses is this community center going to have?
The community center is strictly for the Greens residents only.
How many green residents do you have, or can have?
We are 114 homes.
Homes?
And there's no chance that this, if we give you this space, this green space, that then you'll come back to try to request to use it for anything else? Put anything else on it or anything like that? So if we give up the parking spots, you will commit that it'll stay as landscaping and green?
Strictly green spaces.
My question is, if you have is it going to be open for wedding receptions for Greens people or anything like that? That I'm
It's
sure
only
you have.
for the Greens residents, however they want to use it.
Is there a requirement for so many of those now 29 under your request spaces to be handicapped?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how many?
I have 2 handicap parking spaces. I believe that you're required 1 at a minimum and then 1 for every 25.
One for every 25.
Okay, so
Yes, sir.
there'll still be 2 for 29 as opposed to 2 if you'd had the 34 required?
Yes, sir. There
I
are
see.
still the required
Okay.
handicap.
How would this interfere with existing houses next door to this if they needed additional parking from this? Like, say there was an event here that had more than 26 cars show, or 28 cars.
The majority of the Greens residents, we feel, are most likely, they all live right on the same street. We feel most of them are going to be riding their golf carts or walking. It's right there in the middle of the subdivision.
Okay.
Any other questions from board members?
Public
I'm
hearing.
good with- I'll second that.
Okay, the public hearing is open. Again, this is where people can speak for or against. Sir, if you'd come up and sign in. Ma'am, if you'd yield the podium to this gentleman. And you'll have a chance for any rebuttal if it's necessary. 5 minutes. Yes, sir, you're limited to, 3 to 5 minutes.
That's
We don't
fine.
have a lot on our agenda tonight.
My name is Edward Como. My wife and I are residents of the Greens. The Greens is a retirement community. It's not a normal subdivision. If it has 115 homes now, there's still a lot of lots to be sold, and they just opened up a new area with 44 more lots for the Greens. So all told, when the Greens is finished, we're going to have very close to 200 homes. This new community center, which is now virtually complete, was designed for the exclusive use of Greens residents. However, they can have parties there for outsiders. At least that's the way it's set up for right now. You can have wedding receptions there. You can have all kind of things there. There's no parking on the street, which is Courtyard Drive. It's a very narrow street, so the only parking is off-street parking. They had designed 34 places, and I understand that's the ordinance, and I would suggest that that's a good reason to have that ordinance, 34 spaces. This is not an ordinary subdivision, and granting a variance in this case just to have a little more green space, what 5 places for green space doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't think the builder has shown any detriment to himself. The only detriment is to the people in the Greens. Our subdivision is very unique. It's for 55 and over. However, most of the people who live there are retirees, and you don't retire till you're 60 or 65. So the great majority of people in the Greens are in their 60s and 70s, some in their 80s, some in wheelchairs. Many of them can't walk more than a block without some difficulty. There are approximately 25 homes, you might say, in the walking distance of this new community center. But most of the people aren't going to be able to walk there. Most of us don't ride bikes. We take automobiles. And when they have like potluck suppers and things like that, you have to bring an automobile. And there are not enough parking spaces as it is because of our unique community. When we got this, it was to drop 8. Now they've dropped it to 5, and even that is we need every parking space we can get. As far as the other parking spaces that the lady is talking about, we don't know how one is going to connect with the other. There's a street called Chipping Lane, which is it's a complete street. It's not a path. It's cement. And it goes up almost to the side of this new building, but it's not complete yet. And we have no idea how the builder is going to get access to this new parking area. From what we can see, there's a very good chance he wants to come right through the old parking area where this other little building is that we use for swimming. Now, if he's allowed to do that, the new parking area, the old parking area, is going to be nothing but a path, but a drive-through. And somebody's going to get hurt coming out of that little building and somebody just going into the other part. So let's see if we think the ordinance is fine for a normal community. This is not. We need every parking space we can get. Most of us have to drive there. We can't take bicycles. We can't walk. We have to drive. Any questions?
No, I don't.
No, not yet.
Excuse me, sir. When you say it's existing, how far along is this construction?
I think the construction of the building is virtually complete. You're talking about the new community center?
Yeah.
That's virtually complete. I'd say probably within, I'm guessing, maybe they could answer that. I'd say within 2 weeks to a month at the most.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone else wish to speak for or against this variance request? Yes, ma'am. If you're going to sign in. Or somebody. State your name, please, sir.
My name is Ed Johnnet. I'm a resident of the Greens. And I'm on the Building and Grounds Maintenance Committee. And I was requested to take a look at maybe a different way of putting the parking spots in the back of the new building. And originally, the prints were made to have 44 spaces. And we had came up with, our committee came up with a space of an area that would maybe have 40 spaces. And we didn't see anything, or I haven't seen anything, in a print form to show the new way, except with the way that staked it off started last week. So 44 spaces from 29 is a lot. And the way it's configured right now is that if you, originally it was configured to use this chipping lane, and I have the prints here if you want to see it, and it would have allowed you to flow into the parking area with ease. But the way it is now, if they want to utilize the entrance of the activity center as a means of getting to the new parking area, there's no way that you can make a radius turn close to the street and come into the parking spot. So, it's a detriment to if you could have a lot of cars in there trying to park and you trying to make a turn around, and probably couldn't. And that's another thing that you're not going to be able to make. There is no turnaround area there. So it just doesn't seem feasible to do it properly that way. But if you're interested in seeing the original plan and the plan, I have no idea how it's going to be put up. I don't know how it passed. His plan passed inspections at this time. So
Sir.
there's really no way that we can argue our point unless we see what their plan is.
Let me ask you a question. You say you're in charge
No, sir.
of,
No, sir. I'm not in charge.
you got a committee?
Yes, sir.
You're in charge.
The committee.
You're the
I'm a part of the committee.
part of the committee?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did the contractor ever approach this committee?
Through the board of directors, yes. Through our chairman of the committee.
And you were able to give your input
Yes, sir.
to the actual contractor?
Yes, sir. It was given to, in print form, to discuss only, not as a construction type of print. And it was rejected. And a new proposal came with what they're presenting to you now.
I just want to know if they had any direct communication with the actual residents, Mr.
Oh,
Chairman.
yeah, they did. Between the residents, not the residents, between the committee and the owner of Pelican Point Development. There was that communication.
Okay, thank you.
You said you have a drawing of what the original parking was
Yes,
supposed to
ma'am.
look like?
Mhm.
Can I see that?
Sure.
And could you identify on this drawing where Chipping Lane is supposed to be?
This is the second drawing. This is
The original that exists. This exists right now. None of this is.
So here's Chipping Lane on this,
on the front.
right here.
Comes in behind. Chipping Lane comes to there. And that's the old building.
And here it is here on the second.
This drawing's way off.
Okay.
See, this is showing the parking lot where
Yeah.
I was asking, this
Right there.
right here.
Oh, okay.
But on the second
Parking was
drawing, it's been
supposed to be in
extended.
front of
Right.
it, but now the parking's over here.
It's now, it's right here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The parking's here now instead of there.
The reason for the change of the parking area was for him to give us a little area in here, right next to the handicap area, like a little pavilion or slab for us to have like a patio. And
Okay,
then
so there's gonna be a
then
patio here
requested-
now.
They requested and give us another proposal.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, there's
no, there's not parking there at all.
handicap here and here.
Yeah, but it's on this side of the building now.
Yeah.
There's nothing
You can't
right
turn
there.
around. Once you get in there,
In other words, what it's saying is, on this parking lot here, they're able to maneuver.
This
Yeah.
way you can go around and come back down to this one.
Case, what they're proposing is, they have no way to turn around. In other words, they have to back out, run the some chance of accidents and stuff like that. What he's concerned about. Am I correct?
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And it makes sense. It does make sense.
That does make
And
sense.
just to say, the reason I don't want to see it is because that's not the issue before us. The issue before this
I
board
understand.
tonight is the number of parking spots, not what may have been proposed originally. It's what it is today. I understand your point, but that's not what's before us. You know, there's probably 500 sets of drawings in the developmental stage.
I know, but one thing I liked looking at it about was that it shows me there's another possibility, so necessarily this may not be the right one.
Oh, certainly.
So I just want to see if there's other possibilities
All right.
that can happen.
Sir, okay, are there any other, ma'am, if you'd step up, sign in.
Signed in.
Oh, then just state your name at the podium, please.
My name is Lynn Marino. I'm a resident of the Greens. I believe that the term they use today, quote, green space, unquote, is a buzzword to distract us from the real issue here. We have a park at the Greens that is maintained by the residents. It's a lovely green space. We have an area in the front that's an orchard, which is a lovely green space. We have an area across from the old activity center, which is a lovely green space. I live at the back of the Greens. My address is in the 5200 block. I am about the only one there that ever walks to the front. Most of the residents there are my age. I'll be 72 in May, or at least my age. Many of them who are able to work don't always have the time to walk to the front. We need the parking spaces very badly. If we didn't, I don't think all of us would have taken the trouble to show up here today and waste your time and give you, but really, green space is the word today because everybody's interested in green space. However, that is not the issue here. The issue is the age of the residents and the promises that were made to the senior citizens of the Pelican Point Greens residents. Thank you.
Anyone else care to speak?
I'm Dr. James Lynn. I'm a resident of the Greens. And tonight, when we came to this building, we parked outside in the handicap spaces. 4 of them were taken up by members of the Green. I came in, I can have them raise their hand right now, I'll tell you. We don't have enough parking. And as Mr. Como said, it's also a problem if with people possibly getting hurt if they change the way they're going to have the parking. That's all I have to say about it.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone else wish to speak for or against?
Good evening. I'm Clive Como, Edward Como's wife. I live there. Many of the people who moved to the Greens moved after Katrina, and we moved because of necessity, and we don't play golf, and we don't have golf carts. Some of us have bikes, so we cannot ride down when they have a potluck dinner and bring a big dish on a golf cart that we don't own. So we have to come in cars. We don't all come at the same time because we're not on the same committees, so we need every space we can get. Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to speak for or against?
Ms. Weezy?
Hello. I'm Wheezy Cashett. I'm currently the acting president of the Homeowners Association at the Greens. We were given the information as a board as far as the changes that were proposed, and the board did review those, and I would like to, who has also signed in, Jim Hunter, who is the chairman of our, acting chairman of our Building and Maintenance Committee. And so I would defer to him to give you our statement from the Pelican Point Homeowners Association. Please.
Sir, if you'd sign in, please.
He signed in. He signed in.
State your name, please.
Name is Jim Hunter, and I'm the acting chairman of the Building Maintenance Committee, and recently accepted that position, and am in full cognizance of the fact that we were asked to review the parking at that new building, and we were also asked to review the and make suggestions to perhaps improve the parking situation or the use of the building. we had a meeting of the Board of Directors. I'm also on the Board of Directors. And we had a meeting last week where we adopted a stance on this issue. And we don't have, as was mentioned, a drawing of what it's supposed to be. We have a sketch. But we originally had signed engineering drawings with marked lines and proposed parking spaces. Now we don't. So we adopted the following paragraph. I'll read from our statement from last week's meeting. After reviewing the requested ordinance and taking into consideration the developer's revised parking space, the Board of Directors has agreed to work with the parish and the developer to reduce the impact of the parking facility and the impervious cover, to cut down on stormwater runoff, to minimize distance to site hydrology, improve site appearance, provide safe access, adequate parking, and reduce construction and maintenance costs. We didn't intend to avoid any of the required parish ordinances in building the parking space. But we're willing to negotiate and compromise, and we're asking for your assistance.
So, I listened very clearly, but pardon me, but does that mean that you are for the 34 or for the 29?
Well, we need as much parking space as we can possibly fit in the designated area. But we realize the issue today, and in many municipalities are facing the same problem. If you pave Paradise to make a parking lot, you create a lot of problems. There's even a couple of songs about it. But there are other things that can be done to not put an impervious cover down, but still provide solid, high ground to park a vehicle on. I'm familiar with some of the things that were done on the Gulf Coast in Mississippi, for example, where I came from, due to the storm, where aggregate and structure was put into the soil to allow drainage to go through it, grass to grow. It was cut like a lawn, yet it was a parking space. And it was used for overload situations where, say, during the day for the lunch crowd, they didn't need 500 spaces. They only needed 200. But they had up to 300 if they really needed it.
Sure.
And we do have a hydrology problem. We use, as you know, drainage ponds, which are at the entrance to our subdivision near this facility, and all the ditches in the area run into it. So we're concerned about what's going to happen, and we are aware of the green space issue, but we still need solid ground, high parking. As was mentioned, the age of the community is not, we're not going down, we're going up.
I see.
So we would appreciate anything that you might help us with in this variance. Any questions?
Anyone else wish to speak for or against?
Motion to close public hearing?
Wait a minute, I'd like to let the representative from Pelican Point have a minute. Would you like to comment, ma'am?
Ask it afterwards.
You can still close public hearing.
Okay.
Yeah, I still got questions for her.
Okay.
I second.
I second.
Okay, public hearing's closed. Ma'am, would you like to reapproach the podium? You'll have, again, 3 to 5 minutes. We have some time, so you can have the floor.
Okay. Definitely green space is a big thing for us. We have a large back porch at the rear of this building that we planned on putting benches and chairs and stuff out there for people to go sit on. Most people don't want to be sitting there looking at concrete and cars. So that's why we had gone ahead and decided to move the parking over to the other side. We fit in as much space as possible. The plan, I know originally you guys had the plans to go off of Chippers Lane, I believe, Chipping Lane, and that had been approved by the parish and everything. That was actually something that happened a long time ago. I believe we started these plans in 2005, and
Was that the plans you got the permits off of?
yes, sir.
So the one he showed us is the one the parish has the plans on to build this activity center? Do you know?
I don't remember. We don't keep plans, so we'd have to look and see the plans that were approved or the plans that were stamped by our department.
But it would have been the right amount of parking spaces.
Yes, sir. Yes.
For it to
yes.
be this complete.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Any other board members? Mr. Cecil, you have a question?
I'm kind of amazed. This is kind of reversal. I have to agree with what this young lady back here was saying, but most people want green space. Now I'm hearing I want asphalt or concrete. And but what's eating me right now, Mr. Chairman, is that you said that you communicated with these individuals or individual departments within itself, and we have no jurisdiction over that in the first place. But they're telling me no, and that bothers me a little bit. And I was concerned about that. Now, I'm going to ask you one more time. Did you communicate with these individuals?
Yes, sir.
Not you particularly.
Not
but
me particularly. The developer himself sat down with the head of the board and discussed all of the things that we're trying to do here regarding less parking spaces. And they were supposed to go back and relay it. They had all the drawings. Every time we changed it, they'd have a set of drawings for it.
Current drawings.
Current drawings.
The same what we have here,
Yes.
right?
Yes, sir.
I guess my question is the activity center is being built for the community and the residents of the community. It's not like it's a public activity center. And given the information of the age and health of most of the residents, and looking at the parking lot, that it is basically one way in and you have to come one way out. There is a lot of green area in this lot. Couldn't this have been designed maybe a little bit more resident friendly and still have adequate green space?
We also have the roundabout at the front where people can go and drop people off as well.
But the problem is that when you're dropping them off, you still have to do something with your car.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, after this development's finished, does the homeowner association does it get turned over to the homeowners association, or does the developer keep this development?
That's in between the developer and the homeowners association. Right now, I believe it's a leased area.
And then, would you know how much it's weird that this has come up because I had lunch at the Lynx clubhouse today, and we had about 50 people, and that parking lot was about full. How many parking spaces at the Lynx clubhouse?
There are a lot, but that is also a public golf.
Right, I understand, but that was still just a private lunch on the second floor that we had there, and we were filling up that spot. And so, okay.
We're not able to take comments or questions from the audience. That part of the meeting is over. This is just to allow her some rebuttal and mention comments from the board members. Do you have anything?
No.
I have one point I'd like to make. I've heard well about the age of the residents and their need to get around, and that concerns me. I've also heard some discussion about the hydrology, but that facility out there is full of lakes which also serve as retention ponds.
Yes, sir.
The other question that just sticks at me, and I know you're not going to be able to answer it for me, but what sticks with me is this comes back to my mind. Someone's trying to save a few dollars and not put in enough parking spaces. Now, that's what I believe. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but that's my view of it. And I see that you have not convinced me that there's any unique circumstances or hardship for this request. That's just strictly my comments. So,
With that said.
I'm sorry?
With that said.
With that said.
I'll make a motion to deny the request due to I do not see a hardship.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second to deny the request. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Ma'am, your request is denied.
Thank you.
On our agenda here, the next item would be for this. All right, we'll let them clear out.
Yeah, we got a bunch.
Are we going to the one that we tabled?
Well, that's what I want to switch it around. Yeah, I just won't let them clear out so they can hear us.
That's fine.
Yeah. Could I have a motion to swap items 9 and 10 so we can complete our old business before we go into the variance application form?
Mr. Chairman, so moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll take care of that. This would be the item that got tabled some time back. It's the zoning review ID 1843.08, Elmoon Cannon Property and H. Arthur Morgan Estate, Tract A for Sidney Dupuy. Do we have anyone here to speak for that? Sir, if you'd sign in and come to the podium and state your name, please.
Yeah, Sidney Dupree. I was here last time about get my son's father-in-law a place to stay back there behind my house. I gave him a spot to put his trailer because he had a stroke, and I think his wife, in the meantime, since I was here last time, had part of her intestines removed or something. She had a hole in her stomach. But anyway, I kind of donated him a little spot back there to live where the daughter could take care of him. The daughter and the son could my son could take care of him. And I just was asked for that variance to do that. I brought the map where it was divided. I think Lance has got a map also. May have gave y'all one. But I've got the map if anyone needs to look at it right here.
Is it this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yeah,
we
that's
have
it.
it, I think.
Yeah, I think our question last time was making sure that A1 and A2 were separate tracks, and on the map it clearly shows
Right.
that they are. So you're asking to put a secondary residence on A1 strictly as a hardship
Yes,
to
ma'am.
help with a medical condition.
Yes, ma'am.
Any
With
other
any
board members?
stipulations you want to put there, that it's moved if something happens to them.
What kind of residence or dwelling will it be?
A
Mr.
mobile home.
Dupuy? Mobile home?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any other board members?
Public comment period.
Second.
Public comments now open. Hang on. Does anyone here wish to speak for or against this variance request?
Motion to close public hearing?
Second.
Public comment period's closed. Any board members have anything?
I move that we accept this is written with the stipulation that if the father-in-law and mother-in-law both pass, that the trailer then would be moved.
That's
And
fine.
we go back down to being a single residence lot.
That's fine.
I'll
second
second
that.
the motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve as written with the condition of removal should the occupants expire. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. You got your variance, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank y'all.
Okay. Now we'll move to item 9, which is the public hearing to consider amending the request for variance application. That's our, you should have the one that says revision. It's a public meeting. They could just sit and watch if they wish. I asked Mr. Brock of the Planning and Zoning Office to review this application and provide us with a draft of what he wanted to see that would meet his needs, and then we can comment on that and address our needs. So I will open this up to any discussion by any board member.
First of all, I do have a question for Mr. Lance.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lance, everything on this form, and I have to ask you this because I would like to take this to the public tonight if we can. Anything on this form that you don't think should be there?
Right now, with
Yes, sir.
revision 3 that you're looking at, it says has a little revision 3 on the top right corner. I see something in here stating that on page 3, the following documents, meaning 4C, a legal description of the property involved, prepared by Louisiana Registered Land Surveyor. I don't think we need legal descriptions, a written legal description of properties for someone to request a variance.
And that can be revised. We
Yes,
can
sir.
actually request that revision tonight if all board members agree. And if they don't agree, obviously we'll carry it on over till next meeting. But if we agree to make these changes that Mr. Lance Brock had so mentioned, that
Now, Lance, are we
Mr.
talking
Lance,
about-
well, how would you like the language to read
You can
then?
just take that part off. The verified petition of the owner of a variance shall include a map of the property at a scale of 1 inch equals 200 feet or such scale as required by the planning director.
Okay.
Okay, so you're saying they need a survey, but they don't need.
They don't need a legal description.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
So just really strike out the word legal description.
Yes, sir.
Actually, strike out
Yeah,
the legal
description of a
the
property involved by and prepared by Louisiana Registered Land Surveyor and accompanied by. I think that part. So it says shall include a map of the property at a scale of 1 inch equals 200 feet, or such scales that may be,
Right.
which kind of leaves that open for the planning director to make those decisions also.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion. that
Hold
we
on, I got
make-
one more question. Y'all going a little too fast.
Okay. Yes, sir.
The one thing I was asking is the one thing that we always ask about that they tend to want to sneak in is whether or not they've begun construction, whether they got permits or not,
Okay.
or something to that effect. Is there any way that we can have in here where they at least are stated whether or not they have begun construction or have received a permit or at what stage the development is?
Check yes or no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
that's fine.
That's usually
Yes,
the
sir.
biggest thing that tries to,
fine.
like,
Yes, sir.
tonight, it was never mentioned that the clubhouse was even started.
Sure.
You know, so
And-
naturally I thought we were working off of plans
Off of
here,
something
and
that
then
was an
a
idea too
resident said
until
that it's
someone
almost
stated
finished.
that it was there. And it was done way back. It's just something that
Where would you want to put that in this?
maybe in the second page or so, underneath
Owner's
request or owner information. Yeah, and just state as the construction began or started or has construction started on this project.
Okay, you can add. You're willing to add that in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is everybody in agreement with that?
If yes, some detail.
Okay.
Yeah, and if they check no, but if yes.
Yeah, you need to
some
submit. Yeah,
additional
you need
detail.
to. Yes, sir.
I mean, I would almost like to know if a permit had been issued or not,
Mm-hmm.
you know, for that development already, because we may get somebody that started construction but yet hadn't even got a permit.
Right.
And so
And vice
that's
versa.
why they're here
Yeah,
in the
I know.
first place.
Exactly.
So,
Yes, sir.
Well, and in one of my suggestions, I had asked possibly even for photographs,
Mm-hmm.
a current photograph.
If something's there and there's with that, then that's possible. It's just that my thing is that taking a photograph compared to what exactly are we looking at, and that would be my concern. Taking a photo and then giving it to you, and not really knowing what it means, or knowing where this is located exactly on the property.
and to me, I think if we get people against it, they'll bring enough photos.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see, of course, all pages should be numbered, but I would like to see a revision number and the date of the form in the lower right-hand corner, so we can always make sure people are using
The correct
latest
date.
revision
Sure.
of the form.
Okay.
So it sounds like the will of the board is kind of to move this thing along. So does someone wish to offer a motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I'd like to move that we accept this with the details that we outlined to Lance. I think this is going to be, this request and this application is going to be a benefit both to the parish residents coming to the board and also the board members too in reviewing their request.
Mr. Chairman, we have to open up public hearing first.
Oh, excuse me.
One last thing. I noticed the one that you gave us here did not include this property owner's affidavit.
Yes, sir. I don't think we need that. I just don't. I think that given the person's owner information and the thing on the bottom, if that, saying that he is, and that may be something maybe reworded, which is in there already, stating that he has rights as an agent or whatever to sign this and
So we're saying
present it.
the agent or property owner, whoever he feels here, is okay to apply for a variance.
Yes,
It doesn't
sir.
need to be the owner of the property to file for the
No,
variance.
sir. No, as long as that person, I mean, when they come in and things, I explain to them that, you need to have the rights to do this. And most of I'm not going to say all the time, but majority of the time is always the owner anyway that's coming in and making this request. But I do not think we need an affidavit.
In fact, I made a recommendation we take that out because since we've been doing this, we've never had somebody apply for a variance who wasn't doing it for a variance. They just didn't come in and pay the funds for the.
Actually,
for the
we
fees.
did. It was out on the diversion canal. There was a property line error done by the surveyor, and they were trying to get a variance, a 5-foot piece of variance on a piece of land they did not own on the adjacent property.
Well, that was so they could buy it, but that was they wanted to buy it from the
Exactly
neighbor.
what's happened.
Yeah.
They wanted to buy it from the neighbor, but they needed to adjust the variance before they
Before
could
they
actually
could
do that
purchase
sale.
it. That's correct.
So.
But anyway.
I just don't think it's needed, Brad.
Well, we can always add it later if we find it to be needed.
Well,
This is not set in
That's the
stone.
reason why we
Right.
got revisions.
Right.
Well, I just know it's
We
been
just
brought
need
up
to
at
get
other
just-
previous meetings that
we just
whether or
need to
not a
get the
person can
basis
do a
in.
variance or not. So.
I just don't.
We just need to get some bases in to start this, and if we see anything that necessitate for another revision, that can be done. But we need to get this started first. In other words, you got to have the house before.
You indicated you felt like I need to open a public hearing. Item 9 is the public hearing for this agenda item.
Okay.
So I thought the public hearing was open when we
Motion to
started.
open public hearing.
Second. Do we hear a second?
Second.
Okay.
You got used to seconding that, didn't you?
I got to break myself of that. Well, we've had the comments. Does anybody in the audience wish to speak regarding this issue? Do I have a motion to close public?
Motion to close.
Second.
Okay, public hearing is now closed. Does anyone wish to offer a motion regarding this application form?
We have a motion on the floor already. I'll second his motion.
We do? Okay. I got it lost in the shuffle. I'm sorry. Would you restate it?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move that we accept the new proposed request for variance application with the additional comments that have been exchanged between the board members and Lance for submittal, and that it is in the best interest of the residents of the parish and of the members of the board so that we can be able to understand the exact request.
And Lance, be sure that's going to be at least revision 4.
And I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of adopting this request for variance application?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, this is adopted. Do we have any new business?
Yeah, I'd like to welcome Lance back
I second.
to the desk over there.
Yes, indeed.
Absolutely. We're glad to have you back, Lance.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
I would also like to welcome, we have some students here observing the meeting tonight from East Ascension. Hi.
Yeah, there they are. See right there.
Yeah, they're the youngest ones that's not asleep yet. They're the ones got to do the report in the morning.
Lance, I'll get with you after the meeting regarding the signing of the December written decisions. I've got a question about that before I sign.
Yes, sir. That's fine.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Meeting's adjourned.